Hey everyone, today I'm going to be testing out brand new makeup. I have a good mix of both drugstore and high-end products, and I'll also be doing a wear test so we can see how things hold up throughout the day. So if that sounds good, stay tuned and let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. All right, let's start out with brows. So I have two new ones to try. I have the L'Oreal Infallible Brow Lamination, and then I have the Maybelline Super Lock Brow Gel. So they're the same company. They usually come out with similar products around the same time. So I figured I'll do one on one side and one on the other. We can kind of put them to the test. So the Maybelline one says that it's a brow glue, and it's supposed to give sculpted and styled brows up to 24-hour super hold. And it has a tiny little double-sided brush to it. Then the L'Oreal Infallible Brows also says 24-hour wear. It has a longer applicator, and it says that it's a lightweight, easy to use gel. It lifts and holds brows in place, and it's supposed to be non-sticky and dry quickly. So let's do the L'Oreal one on this side. I've really been looking for a brow gel to replace the Too Faced Fluff and Hold, because not only is that one expensive and I have to repurchase it really often, but also it went on sale 50% off recently at a couple of different retailers. And sometimes that's a little clue that it may not be around too much longer. So I feel like I have to find another brow gel before they totally discontinue that one, and then I'm stuck. But as I'm combing this one through my brows, I noticed that it has a little bit of a waxier texture. It's kind of like the brow waxes that we were seeing a couple of years ago. It's not as wet. Like the Too Faced one actually feels like a wet brow gel, and this one is just a little bit softer. If you've tried the Milani brow gel or the one from Benefit, it feels kind of like that to me. So I don't know if I love it, but I guess the important thing is how it holds up throughout the day. So let's go ahead and try the Maybelline one next. I have a feeling this one's going to be kind of a goopy texture too, because it says brow glue. I wasn't really super into like the NYX brow glue. I know a lot of people love that one, but it just never set down all the way for me. So my brows would kind of move around throughout the day. All right, so this one definitely has a smaller applicator. So yeah, it has a really similar feel to the L'Oreal. Again, it's not super wet. It has a little bit of a waxy feel. So I really don't know how this is going to hold throughout the day, but either way, I'm going to let my brows just set down and then I'll go back and fill them in later. So in the meantime, I just want to put something on my lips, and this is the new Milani Fruit Fetish Black Cherry Vanilla Lip Oil. So you all know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, how much I love these lip oils. They're one of my absolute favorites. And this is just a new shade that they came out with for fall. It looks super pretty, and these all smell exactly like the name. So Black Cherry Vanilla, definitely spot on. And I love the really dark purple color of this because I feel like it's gonna look really pretty. These are really sheer, so it's not gonna come out looking like this. So my guess is just kind of like a blackened berry color. Yeah, this is looking so pretty. Look at that. What I also love about these lip oils is how silky they are. I've tried high-end lip oils, drugstore, dollar store. These are one of the best just because they have a little bit of a cushiony texture, and there's zero stickiness with these. They just have the silkiest feel. And not to mention, they smell amazing. This one smells like black cherry soda. So good. Moving on to a high-end product, I got a new eyeliner from House Labs. This is their clear cut liquid eyeliner. So it only comes in black as far as I can see. At least that's what was on the Sephora website. But I've been pretty impressed with House Labs products overall. And this one is supposed to stay put all day, and it has a brush tip, which is my favorite kind of liquid eyeliner. So I'm really excited to try it. It's supposed to be a super inky black color. Yep, it looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna put this on before I do eyeshadow. I sometimes do it that way because if I line first, then it sort of creates a little bit of a guide for my eyeshadow. And I also think the liner goes on a little bit smoother because I'm putting it right directly on my skin instead of on top of eyeshadow. So I'm just gonna start working this toward the outer corner. I'm gonna do a little tiny bit of a wing, but nothing too big. And right away, this is actually kind of like tugging on the skin on my lid. I'm not sure why. I don't think I've ever had a liquid eyeliner do that before. Usually they just glide really smoothly. And also, it's not coming out like a very dark black. It almost looks kind of gray. Maybe I needed to shake it a little. Let's see if that helps. Yeah, I mean, it's coming out a little bit darker, but I don't know why this is dragging. It's like the brush keeps catching on my skin. I know I don't have like the tightest skin on my eyelids anymore, being in my mid 40s, but still I use plenty of liquid eyeliners and they don't usually tug like this. So it's kind of weird. I'm just gonna try the other eye. This is my more hooded eye too, so it's always a little bit trickier. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if you can see this, but it looks really faded. It's acting like an eyeliner that's run out of ink already, which is super strange. It's barely showing up. I'm not sure why. When I put it on my hand, it actually shows up great, but I think maybe that's because I'm pointing it downward, whereas when I do my eyes, it's upside down. But a good eyeliner should not do that. It shouldn't matter. You should be able to apply it any which way. Like, who applies their eyeliner like this? I don't think anybody's doing that. So it needs to be able to work no matter what angle you're holding it at. And this just isn't. It's totally getting messy. All right, I totally just messed up this eye, so I'm gonna wipe it off and try again. I just want to let this dry for a second, and I'm going to shake this up really, really well so that all the ink comes to the bottom. So I'm just going to start drawing my wing. Yeah, you see how it's like faded? It's just not very dark at all. And I try to like keep going over it. That is really not acceptable. Like, watch, I'll show you on my hand. If I go back and forth, it's perfectly black. It comes right out. All right, so I just wiped it off. I want to show you the Judy Doll eyeliner from Yes Style. This is $5 or $6, and I'll show you how this one applies. First of all, it doesn't drag on my skin at all. And then it makes the perfect wing. It just glides right on. This is brown, by the way, so it's not going to be as dark, but you just fill it in. It's like super easy, and it takes 2 seconds to line your eyes. Now I feel like I have to do the other side with this one because I have black over here and brown over here. Yeah, I am super disappointed in the House Labs one. I definitely want to return that because I don't think it's worth it. This one's just so much easier to use. I mean, there are other drugstore options too. I love the Moira liquid liners. Those are fantastic. Physicians Formula has a really good one. So I don't know what happened with this one, but I'm definitely not impressed. Next up, I have a new eyeshadow palette from Makeup Revolution. You all know I'm not a huge fan of Revolution, but so many of you have been telling me I need to try these icon palettes. So there's 2 different versions. There's one that's more warm toned. This is the cooler toned one. It just really spoke to me. I saw this at Target, and a lot of people are comparing these to Patrick Ta because there are the 2 cream shadows over here. They're not under a little plastic door like the Patrick Ta. They just have a piece of tape over them, but you can peel it up and then just stick it back down if you want to protect these from getting powder in them. But I'll just show you what this looks like close up. I think it's a beautiful color story, and a few of you told me that it's not Makeup Revolution's usual formula. It feels more like they're using the BH Cosmetics one, which made me really excited because they did buy BH Cosmetics. They have access to their formula, so I've been wondering for a while why aren't they using that one because it's so good. And this one definitely seems promising, so I think I'm going to start out with this pink matte shade right here. I'm going to put in my crease, and I'm using the BK Beauty 202 brush. So I'm just going to start working this right into my crease. Wow, so far it actually is very pigmented. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like over the years Makeup Revolution's eyeshadow formula has been so hit or miss. There have been a couple that have been really good, but for the most part I'm left disappointed with their eyeshadows. I'd much rather use ColourPop. This one is nice though. I could even tell just by how the pigment picked up on the brush. I saw a lot of the pigment when I picked up my brush, and usually that's a sign that it's going to be more pigmented. So I'm really loving the way this matte is performing. It's blending out nicely too. I feel like it's really smooth. It's not super powdery. It has nice grip to the skin. So yeah, we're definitely off to a good start. Next up, I want to deepen my outer corner. I guess I'll use this warm brown, but I was hoping to do a fully cool tone look. Unfortunately, there aren't any cool browns in this palette that are deeper. So either I have to use the black or I have to use this really warm brown. And then this one is a cream over here, which I don't know if I want to put it over the powder that I just put down. I think if I were going to use these creams, I would use them more as a base. So I guess I'll just add a little bit of this warm brown in, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm just gonna put this toward the outer corner. I'm just using a flat brush, and I'm just gonna work this back toward the center of my lid. This shade shears out a little bit as I'm applying it. It doesn't look quite as dark as it did in the pan, but I have to say it's very smooth and it's not patchy. Recently, I did a video on how expensive drugstore makeup has gotten and how, a lot of the brands with the increase in prices, they've also upped the quality somewhat. But then there are also some brands like Makeup Revolution, Wet n Wild, and Essence who have kept their prices low, but I feel like they're still very hit or miss. It's hard to find products that work for me, so I don't know if you guys have all had the same experience. I mean, sometimes they knock it out of the park. I think Essence's new blushes are phenomenal. I like the liquid ones and the powder ones. I think they're beautiful, but I've also tried some stuff from them recently that's been a total dud. So really, it's been a minute since I've purchased anything from Revolution, but you guys all gave this your stamp of approval, so I figured I had to try it. I mean, I'm honestly rooting for these drugstore brands because prices are high enough everywhere we look in every category of life, so I think it's always great when we can get good makeup for less. So next I want to pick up this Shifty shade. It looks like it goes from purple to pink. Sorry, this is really reflective, so it's hard to see, but it looks like the most beautiful color. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is so, so pretty. Look at how beautiful that is. And really, it was easy to pick up. It's not just a wash of glitter. It really has some color behind it, which I like. And I also love the shift that it has. This is beautiful. All right, I'm just gonna do the other eye. I don't know if this is BH's formula, but it's definitely performing really well. I would say this is much better than what Revolution usually gives us. So you were absolutely right. This seems like a very solid eyeshadow formula. And honestly, BH Cosmetics had one of the best eyeshadow formulas at the drugstore, so they would be crazy not to use it. All right, yeah, so I'm really liking this look. I didn't do anything too crazy or over the top. I feel like this lid color really kind of speaks for itself, and I don't really want it to compete with anything, so I think it would make a great one and done shadow, as would a lot of the shades in this palette. So I'm actually really impressed so far. Thank you to everyone who recommended that. I will definitely keep playing with it, and we'll see if it makes it into some favorites videos down the road. So next up, I'm just gonna quickly fill in my eyebrows with the NYX Lift and Snatch pen. I wanna see how these brow gels dried down. So the L'Oreal one definitely feels dry. I think the Maybelline one feels even drier. And while they both gave my brows hold, I actually like the look of the Maybelline one a little bit more. I think this one didn't really give me that slicked back look. I think I like the look of this side a little more. And I'm using the shade Ash Brown, which is the perfect match for my brows. I have really cool toned ashy hair and brows, at least my natural color of my hair. And this shade is perfect if you struggle with finding cool enough eyebrow products, because I know a lot of them tend to pull really warm. Try the Ash Brown from NYX, because honestly, the most perfect match I've ever gotten for my brows. All right, so as far as which brow I actually like better, I don't know. I'm looking at the Maybelline one and I see more of the brow hairs, like they look a little more defined. And then over here, you can't really see the hairs as much. It just looks like a blur. So it reminds me of like filling in your brows with a pencil on this side versus filling it in with powder, where it looks just a little bit more soft and diffused. So I think it just depends on what your preferences are, but we'll have to see too, I guess, how they hold my brows throughout the day, because that's going to make a big difference too. Next, for mascara, I got a new one from Jane Iredale. They sent over their new tubing mascara, which I am really excited about. They actually sent me this whole book about it. And then here's the mascara itself. It's called Lash Fixation. And this claims to maximize length, precisely define your lashes, and also lift and curl. And of course, because it's a tubing formula, it creates those little tubes that bond to your lashes, and then they come off with just warm water. You don't need soap or cleanser, and they also don't smudge. So that's one reason why I absolutely love tubing formulas, and I'm always up for trying a new one. So I love the brush on this too. It's a nice straight wand, and it's also not too big and chunky. So it's great if you have smaller eyes or hooded eyes, and you don't want to get mascara all over your lids. So I'm just going to start combing this through. I usually like to just wiggle the brush a little bit as I'm combing through my lashes. So far, it feels like it's a pretty wet formula, but it doesn't feel overly clumpy. But that being said, as I'm building up the coats, I'm not getting a ton of length and volume out of this one. It's definitely not as dramatic as the Thrive Liquid Lash Extensions or the Tartelette tubing formula, but it's also the first time I'm using it. Sometimes these formulas get better as they go. I know that happened to me with the Hourglass tubing mascara. I didn't like it initially, and then I kind of put the tube in a drawer and I forgot about it, and then a month later I took it out again, and I think after it had a chance to just dry out a little bit, it performed beautifully and I loved it. So I think it depends. I don't always love a mascara the first time. So I'm gonna keep playing with this, but I mean, it did an okay job. It's not terrible, it's not fantastic, it's somewhere in the middle for me. So I guess we'll just see how it goes. I also got a new mascara from Neutrogena. I don't know how new this is, but I just saw it and it said new at the drugstore when I picked it up. So this is called the Healthy Definition Mascara. It has panthenol and biotin, and it claims to give you lashes in HD that lengthen, separate, volumize, and lift lashes without smudging or flaking. To be honest with you, I don't have the highest hopes for this because I love a false lash look, and Neutrogena usually just gives more of a natural lash look, which is fine, like if that's what you like. It's just not my personal preference and what I look for in a formula, but you never know. Things can surprise you sometimes, and that's what I love about makeup, is like finding those hidden gems. What's interesting about this mascara is it has shorter bristles on one side that weren't really doing much for my lashes, but then when I switched to the side with the comb, which is a little bit longer, it's actually given me quite a bit of length. Okay, yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. When I used the side with the comb, my lashes are so much longer. I'm pleasantly surprised by this one. I love a lot of Neutrogena's products. I think their lip products are amazing. Their complexion products are really good, but I've never tried a mascara from them that I really liked. But this one, I think it's actually giving pretty long lashes. So again, I'll have to keep playing with it. I'm due for a quarterly favorites video at the end of this month. So once I have a couple of weeks to try it out, I can let you know at that point. But so far, definitely not bad. Milani also has a new primer. This is called the Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Smoothing Primer. A lot of you guys were tagging me in this when you saw it on Instagram and saying that it possibly looked like an alternative to the L'Oreal Studio Secrets that was discontinued, and you all know that was my favorite primer. So first of all, this is super pretty. It's purple, and looking at the texture, it's definitely giving the same vibes as the L'Oreal. This one actually has a little built-in applicator in the cap as well. Let me just see if I can get that out. Yeah, there's like a little spatula. That's so cute. So just quickly, this says that it's supposed to hydrate and blur with a cooling sensation. It has hyaluronic acid, 3% niacinamide, and 5% glycerin, and it does have a really cool feel to it. So I think I'm just gonna put this on half of my face because I am gonna be trying a new foundation, and I wanna see what that's like with and without primer as well. So I'm just gonna put this over here on the right side of my face. Oh, it does have a cooling sensation. That's so nice. And it's very velvety. It feels so smooth going on. And there's a definite blurring going on almost instantly. This makes my skin feel so good. I haven't found anything so far that blurs pores as well as the L'Oreal Studio Secrets, but I'm not giving up hope. You never know, this one might be a winner. Let's just zoom the camera in and we'll compare the two sides. Okay, so looking straight on first, I think that this side, it's mattified slightly. I think it took down the shine. And then up close, I think it definitely blurred my pores. If I look over here, I can see them a lot more. I don't know what's gonna show up on camera, but I'm just going by what I see in the mirror. I can also see the lines on my forehead a little bit more on this side than I do over here. So I think the primer is filling things in nicely. Not to mention, it just makes my skin feel so smooth. All right, so far so good. So next up, I wanna try the new Dior foundation stick. I've gotten so many requests to try this one too, and this is supposed to be a multi-use foundation stick. It's supposed to blur and correct your skin. It's supposed to have 24-hour wear and hydration. And I got it in the shade 2CR, which is Cool Rosy. I love the packaging as well. I think it's just so sleek and beautiful. I haven't tried a Dior foundation in years now, but I do really like their concealer. And I have to say, I'm not a huge stick foundation person. A lot of times I find that they're too thick and they end up looking makeup-y or like really heavy on my skin. But not too long ago, I tried the one from Lancome and I really love that. So I'm hoping that this is kind of going to be the same way. So I'm just going to start blending this in. This is the side with the primer first, and I have to say it's going on very smoothly over that primer. The foundation itself also feels very lightweight. It just melts right in. It's not like those old foundation sticks that are very thick and almost like pancake makeup. It just kind of melts right in, and I love to use my fingers with foundation sticks as well because I feel like the warmth kind of helps it to melt in a little bit faster. Just putting a little bit on my nose, but so far I love the way that this looks on top of the primer. It does definitely have that blurry effect, and to me it's giving more of a soft matte finish. So it's not super matte or dry looking. It looks a little bit more skin-like, maybe close to satin, but there's no glow to this whatsoever. So it really gives that nice blurred effect. I'm gonna go ahead and just start applying it now to the side without the primer and see how it feels. It's not gliding quite as smoothly as it did over here, but it's still very smooth. It does remind me so much of the Lancome one. It feels very similar. So if you have that one, you'll probably really like this one too. The only thing is though, this does have fragrance in it. It smells a little bit perfumey. It's not super strong, but I can definitely smell it as I apply it to my face. So I just wanted to mention that for anybody who might be sensitive. I mean, overall, I think it's giving nice medium coverage. It's not too heavy. It's not like a sheer coverage either. And while I do like the way that this looks on bare skin, I like it even more on top of the Milani primer. That just did an excellent job at smoothing out my pores and making my skin look a little bit more flawless. So that's actually one of the nicest primers I've tried in a long time. But let me zoom you guys in so you can see a little bit closer. Okay, so here's the foundation with the primer. I think everything looks so smooth. And then here's the foundation without the primer. I still think it looks pretty good, but I do notice maybe a little bit more shininess on this side. And also I can see the texture on my cheeks and a little bit more on my chin over here as well. But it doesn't look bad either way. I do think it's a nice foundation stick. I think it's really smooth and very lightweight as well. Next up, I got another shade of the Morphe Euphoric Rush Blush. This is a cream formula, and I had gotten a pink shade a couple of months ago now, back towards the beginning of the summer, but I saw this purple shade, and a lot of you have been asking me for more purple blush options, especially at the drugstore. So I just thought this color looked really beautiful. This claims to be a buildable, buttery smooth cream blush that primes, hydrates, and blurs for a naturally energized rush of color. So it's supposed to have that skin blurring primer in it, hyaluronic filling spheres, bamboo extract, and it's supposed to just melt right into your skin. I agree, I do really like this formula a lot. And I don't even know if I mentioned this shade is called Energized. So I'm just gonna pick this up with the BK Beauty 107 brush and just gonna start applying this right to my cheeks. Another thing I really like about these blushes is that they're not too pigmented, but they're also not sheer, so that you don't have to like build up multiple layers. I think when it comes to cream blush, I like to just be able to put one layer on and leave it, because sometimes if you have to build it up, then it starts to get sticky or lift your foundation. So it's nice when you can just put one layer and be good to go. And if you have the same issue as me where a lot of pink blushes end up turning peachy or orangey on you, definitely try purple, because I feel like it doesn't even come out looking purple, it just looks pink. So whenever I do cool toned eye looks and I want a cooler tone blush, I always reach for purple now instead of the cooler tone pinks, because those can always look peachy, but the purple ones don't do that. And I think this color is absolutely stunning, and these do dry down. At least on my dry skin, they dry pretty much to a powder finish, and they don't have that sticky feel that a lot of cream blushes do. So for lips, I know I already tried the new Milani lip oil, but I also got these new ones from Wet n Wild. These were another big recommendation from all of you. I found these at Walmart, and I got 3 different shades to try. Looking at the colors in person, they don't really look super cool toned, so I don't know if they're gonna go with my look very well, but I still wanna try the colors on for you guys just so we can see what they all look like. So the 3 shades that I got are Cocoa Rose, Dress Code, and Vintage Society. And packaging wise, they do have the oversized doe foot applicator that a lot of lip oils have these days. So I'm just trying to see if they have a scent. I don't think so. I don't smell anything. So that's great for anybody who doesn't like fragrance in their lip products. So I'm gonna start out with the shade Cocoa Rose. This one looks like kind of a warm nude shade. Right away, I can say I love the applicator. It's so puffy and really soft, and it just feels nice as you're applying it. It's definitely very comfortable. And these also have a nice cushiony feel, similar to the Milani ones actually. But as I rub my lips together, I am noticing a little bit of a gritty feel. I'm not sure if I had residue on my lips from the tissue that I used to wipe off this, or if this formula is actually a little bit gritty, but we'll have to see how the next one is. So again, this shade is Cocoa Rose. All right, I just made sure my lips are totally smooth. There's nothing there. So the next shade is Vintage Society. The shade is a really beautiful coral color. I actually like pairing coral with purple. I think it's a really nice combo. So anyway, this one again is Vintage Society. I do have a little bit of the grittiness with this one as well, so I feel like it's probably just the formula. The next shade that I have is Dress Code. This one looks bright red in the tube. I'm guessing it's gonna be a little bit more sheer than that. Yeah, this color is super pretty as well. So again, I do feel the grittiness, and these also have a little bit of a cooling sensation as well. I'm not sure if they're supposed to, or if maybe I'm just reacting to something, but it almost feels like a plumping formula. I don't know if that's supposed to happen, but anyway, this shade is Dress Code. All right, so I just went ahead and put the Milani gloss back on. I feel like there were some definite hits in this video. I'm really enjoying the Makeup Revolution palette so far. The Milani primer too. This is definitely a standout for today's video. Also, the Milani lip oil is a really fun color for heading into the fall. So far, both of the brow gels are holding up pretty well. I think I might prefer the Maybelline one to the L'Oreal, but both of them look pretty good. I love the Morphe blush in this color. It's beautiful. The Dior foundation stick also looks really good, but we're gonna do a wear test and see how that holds up. I was also pleasantly surprised by the Neutrogena mascara. I think it actually did give me quite a bit of length, more than I was expecting. And the Jane Iredale tubing formula, I mean, it didn't give me the biggest lashes, but I don't feel like they look bad. So if you like a more natural look, I think that would definitely be one to try. I think the biggest letdown of this video so far is this Haus Labs eyeliner. I have no idea what's going on with this, but it was so hard to use. So I'm not a fan of this at all. I haven't read reviews on it yet, but I think I'm gonna return it. I don't do that very often, but I don't see myself using this, and it was kind of expensive. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna go about the rest of my day. I will check in with you later. We'll see how everything is holding up, and I'll be able to give you all of my final thoughts. Hey guys, just here for my final check-in. So it's been about 8 hours or so, and looking in the mirror, the first thing that I noticed right away is my eyeshadow is a little bit more faded than it was when I first applied it. It still looks okay, but it's not as vibrant as it was before. And when I look at it closely, there are definitely some like patchy areas where it looks like it faded even more than in other spots. So I guess it's not fading evenly, but I have to say my brows are holding up perfectly with both brow gels. So I think both of these are winners. I was surprised because they had that sort of softer, more waxy feel, and I thought that they were just gonna droop during the day, but they really held up perfectly. Like I said, I think I like the Maybelline one slightly more than the L'Oreal, but they're both really good. Mascaras did not smudge at all, either one of them. The Morphe blush also faded, but I can definitely still see a little bit of the color. And when it comes to the lip oil, I didn't expect that to last anyway. That came off pretty much right as soon as I started eating, so that's pretty typical of a lip oil. Then as far as the complexion products go, I'm really impressed with the Milani primer. I think this side of my face held up a lot better than this side did. Now, the Dior foundation stick, like I said, it looks okay on bare skin, but I think it really looks better over here. And I have to give credit to the Milani primer for that because I can directly see the difference of how the Dior looks by itself. So I think over here, everything looks a little bit more mattified, not super matte, but not as much shine as I have over on this side. And I have dry skin, so it generally doesn't look shiny. I also think the side with the Milani primer looks much less textured than this side does. And the foundation just also looks more even. I think on this side, I can see that it wore off in some spots. I'll just show you a quick close up. So yeah, here's the Milani side over here. And I think even the blush held up better on this side. And then over here, we have the non-Milani side. I just see a lot of texture right in here. I think the foundation stick might have even sunken into the pores a little bit more. So I'm noticing them more than I would if I had nothing on my skin at all. And also here on my chin, it's just sort of gathering a little bit. and looking slightly makeup-y. I don't know how much you'll be able to see on camera, but that's just what I'm observing in the mirror right now. So the Dior foundation stick is okay. It's not my absolute favorite. I think I probably like the Lancome one a little bit more than I do this, but they're pretty similar. I think this looks really great over primer, not so much by itself, so I think I'm just gonna end up wearing it on top of a primer. I don't know if it's just this one or if any primer would make it look better. I'm not sure, but I think this right here is the star of the show today. This is a beautiful product. I think it's rare that a pore filling primer comes along that actually does what it claims to do. So many of them kind of fall short for me. So I absolutely love this. I think it's phenomenal. And I think the biggest loser of today's video was definitely the Haus Labs liner. I don't know what's going on with this or if anybody else has had the same experience, but as you saw, I had a pretty bad experience with it. But otherwise, I would say this is the only thing that I would not recommend buying from today's video. I think everything else can work on some level. My absolute favorites from today: the Milani primer, the L'Oreal and Maybelline brow gels, which are really good. The Fruit Fetish lip oil was fantastic, and the Morphe blush. I also really liked the Revolution palette. While I wouldn't put it in the category of my top favorite thing from this video, it's somewhere in the middle. I think it did a fantastic job. I'm only docking it a few points because I feel like the color faded a little bit more than I was expecting it to, but it's not like it completely disappeared. It still looks really good. So anyway, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of these products down in the comments below. Let me know what you're thinking, and if you're planning on trying any of these, or if you have already, I'd love to hear your reviews as well. It always helps everybody out down in the comment section. So anyway, I appreciate so much that you took time out of your day to watch this video. And if you'd like to watch any more, if you have some extra time, I'll put a few right up there that you could check out next. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all in my next one. Take care. Bye.